This is your Neepawa Town Council Debrief for the May the 17th, 2022 meeting. The debrief will take you through the key issues being discussed by Council and provide a bit more information on what they mean for the town. Because of the length of this week's Council meeting, we'll be airing it in two parts, so we will have a separate debrief for each part. This is part 2. We open with a public hearing for a bylaw amendment, which in Neepawa usually means that we will have more housing going up. The housing being proposed is multi-unit, so apartment housing, and is intended to offer a portion of the available units at below market rates in order to be an affordable housing option. The total number of units is still to be determined. The applicant is currently undergoing a market research project in the Neepawa area, the results of which they intend to share with Council, so we may have more details on that in a future program. This is the same group that is proceeding with the 144-unit modular home park project as well.
Well, good evening. Thank you.
Pardon me? Do you want me to read the bylaw first?
Sure.
So yes, this is another map amendment to the Town of Neepawa zoning map, attached to and being part of the Town of Neepawa zoning bylaw 3184-18, as amended, is hereby further amended to, in order that land is described as follows: Parcel 1, Plan 5695, for Land Titles Office. Parcel 3, Plan 5847, NLTO, and Parcel A, Plan 5428, NLTO, located in the part of Southeast 321415W in the Town of Neepawa, as shown outlined in a heavy solid line on a map attached hereto and marked as Schedule A, and made part of the amending bylaw 3215-22, be rezoned from its current ML industrial light zone to the proposed RM2 residential unit 2 zone. Same thing, as it's a bylaw amendment, it was circulated through provincial departments, and of all departments circulated, there was no objections. Matter of Municipal Relations just a comment that this map amendment proposes to rezone the lands referenced above from ML Industrial Light Zone to R2 Residential Multi-Unit 2 Zone to allow for the development of multi-unit residential dwellings in the subject lands. The Brand Community Planning Office has no concerns with the proposed amendment, and there was no other comments from provincial circulation. And same with bylaws, it's affecting an individual property. It was circulated to property owners within 100 meters, and also at 2 times posted in the local paper. And a couple phone calls in question, but no concerns lodged either direction for it from the office.
okay, thanks, John. Warren, is it?
Yes, it is.
Warren, did you have any comments?
Just gathering my thoughts.
Okay.
I have great memory, it's just short. Thanks very much for processing this as quickly as it has been. We were rather surprised. Coming out of Winnipeg, this process would take us 8 months, so we can't thank you enough, and it sure helps.
Yeah, that's thanks to the great administration.
Yeah, your team moves it along, and we respect and appreciate that. A couple of small details, and then the big picture. It is our intent to do a consolidation of the 3 properties we're talking about. The bylaw currently describes 3 separate legal titles, but for financing and simplification reasons, we have started the Denchuk and Isaac land surveyors on the process of preparing a consolidation into one legal description for us. It's just neater and cleaner. The issues we're examining right now with regards to the property are how we're going to service it. There are some qualities of the property that we need to address. One of which is the fact that, as your administration has pointed out to us previously, the existing trailer court does require some additional fire protection in the form of hydrants. So we're working on that. We have a mechanical engineer doing some preparatory work for us. We're awaiting a market study and appraisal. We've hired Cushman & Wakefield, the CMHC's preferred appraiser, and they're looking at your community for us as we speak And we expect that in 2 or 3 weeks' time, they're going to give us their opinion as to what we affectionately refer to as the absorption is. What is the demand for this product? And we don't want to exceed our grasp, but we do want to build to the demand. So I'm sure we all have opinions as to demand in Neepawa. We're confident it's significant, but the financial process we have to go through requires us to show them that we've done our due diligence. So we have reputable licensed appraisers preparing that for us now, and as I said, I hope to have it within 2 weeks. I'd be pleased to share it with you so that you know how that process looks at Neepawa. We believe there's a demand for affordable housing in Neepawa. CMHC currently has a affordable housing program which we're comfortable working with, and we're quite fond of it actually. It provides a lot of advantages to developers. It does come with some restrictions. If we proceed under the current program to develop affordable rental housing on the site, 10% of the units would need to be accessible, and by accessible, that's wheelchair accessible. That's not to the building code either, that's to CSA standards, so it's the highest level of accessibility. CMHC gives us points. It's your good boys point system. We get a fair number of points for energy efficiency, so the project would need to be to a level somewhat higher than the Manitoba Energy Code, which interestingly enough is somewhat higher than CMHC's own code. So the project would need to be energy efficient and affordable. We need to provide, we get points for various quantums of what we contribute. This is all on the CMHC webpage if you want to take a look at what we're trying to, what we're designing. But the affordability will require us to provide a minimum of 10 and perhaps as many as 30% of the units at 20 to 30% below CMHC's opinion as to what market rent it is in Neepawa. So and that's provable, and we have to support it by audit annually. So it isn't a sham. We can't get around it. We lose our financing if we don't provide a significant affordable component within the overall structure of the project. We have an architectural firm who have prepared preliminary designs for us of a single 24-unit project, stretching that to 30, to 36, to 48, and we're considering in lieu of 48, 224s. The National Building Code has fire ratings and restrictions that the 48-unit building draw in. Jeff would appreciate all of this. We're also looking very seriously at non-combustible construction. We've all read the papers about buildings burning down under construction and once built. We're not comfortable a 3-story multi-family wood frame building, so we're making every effort and we're looking at every alternative to design and build a non-combustible solution. In any case, the building will be sprinklered. That's just common sense today. You're moving faster than we are, and I opened the meeting by thanking you for that. I didn't expect Jeff's note recently that we were here for first reading. We hope that in the month of May we will have a design presentation for you as to what the building will look like, what the final suite count will be, what the appraisal says, what the market study says, and I'd be happy to come back and share all of that with you. I read the province's correspondence. We have the ability to move to second and or third reading at this point. We, of course, want to cross as many bridges as we can, as soon as we can. And I was going to suggest to this council, if there is no opposition, we're proceeding in good faith. If we could receive first and second reading tonight, and you could hold third reading to the resolution of the development agreement or whatever relationship understanding we need to resolve, we're happy to do that. Second reading helps us go to CMHC and indicate to them that we're moving along. First reading, I might go to the back of the queue at CMHC's appraisal process, and I'm anxious to, we see an opportunity to be in the ground this fall with occupancies June, July of next year. We're in conversations with Boxstall Construction, a reputable Manitoba born and raised company, as our construction manager, and we've told Boxstall that they will be required to canvass your community and obtain as many local quotes for material, labor, and supply that they can, and we will hold them to that. I commit to you that I'll be beyond disappointed if anyone in your community can come to you and say that we weren't given an opportunity to contribute to this project. We appreciate working with the community, and you have my word that we will. Not negotiable.
Yes, and I'm glad to hear that you're doing a bit of a market study in that. I think if you, around the area, surrounding trading area, there's definitely a demand for affordable housing. So.
You're an interesting model for financing. The community is, and this project would be dependent upon the processing plant's employees. And of course, a lender will always say, and they have said to us, what if the plant closes? And we say, well, if the plant's going to close, why are they continuously financing significant expansions to the plant? Why are increased sewage lagoons? Why are all of those projects, under consideration, under review, if that plant is going to close? And as well, whether or not the plant is a good partner with Neepawa, I think you would be hard pressed to replace that plant. They've worked hard to get to where they are, and the product and demand is substantial and provable. So we're not concerned, but we have some appraisal and market study hurdles, not hurdles, check marks we need to achieve. To answer a question that may have been asked, what about our first application to you in the primary development, the 144 unit mobile home, modular home park? We continue to proceed in that. We've now hired our civil engineering firm, and they'll be in touch with your team shortly to get that process started. We have received, thank you, and reviewed the development agreement. We took a little bit of time to cost a few of the items within the agreement, just to confirm that we remain within our, I have an Excel spreadsheet, and I change a number and it trickles down to the lower right corner. And we just had to plug in some costs that the development agreement brought to our attention. I don't think we have any issues with it, but we owe it to our group and to our lender to vet it, and we've done that now. We had hoped that we would be in the ground this summer. We don't know if that's achievable, and I'll forewarn you, if the demand for affordable rental apartments is what some people tell us it will be in your community, we may be back here looking at that 144 unit modular park and asking if you would consider allowing us to build some multifamily within that. So we would have rezoned it to multifamily, and we may be back here and happy to have the discussion with your administration. But we may be back asking you to allow us to build some multifamily. We have started to market there's a strip of commercial property in the new development along the Gill north-south arm, and we prepared some preliminary drawings for some built-to-suit and leaseback contractor office shop space in that currently zoned light industrial. So that's everything I know about our working relationship. If anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
The lots that you said that you were going to consolidate, those are lots 3, 1, and A?
I believe so, yes.
Just those 3?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. We do it, we would expect that your administration wouldn't issue a building permit that straddled legal descriptions, and lenders don't like to lend against straddled legal descriptions. So I think anticipating that toothache for all of us, we're just going to get it started now and get it pulled together into one. It's a simple consolidation. There's nothing onerous or nefarious about it. We just want one project, one title, one permit, one tax bill. Simple. Yeah. That's our thought anyway. Could change tomorrow. Any questions?
I keep going on that thought.
Pardon me?
I keep going on that thought.
We're going on it, yeah. Yeah.
No, it seems the council is good, so, yeah.
For your information, we're the Crescent Creek Group, Darryl and Cedric, who I think you've met, are encouraging me to get this moving, and I can tell you that I have no financial impediments or restrictions or limits. They like the project. They want to get in to the ground, and in fact, I walk in to hear that someone else is talking about multifamily in your community as well. We know we're not the smartest or the best, but we'd like to be the first. And so we're moving on that.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Just keep working with their town staff.
Yeah, they've been terrific.
Yeah.
Jeff and I have a healthy professional relationship. I share the information that I can with him, and I can't tell you. I would rather drive the 2 hours each way to this meeting than have to attempt to do this within the city of Winnipeg. Your administration is greatly appreciated.
Yeah.
So just for clarity, we did give first reading on April 5th to this, that actually put it into the circulation process with the province.
All right.
The second step in that would be this public hearing tonight.
Yeah.
On the agenda is second reading.
Yeah.
And of course, based on section 150 of the act, then we're requiring that we will complete the development agreement before third reading. So very similar to the process.
Yeah, the other path we're on. Yeah.
So just so you know, we're one reading ahead of what you were thinking.
You guys. I should have come yesterday.
An exciting upcoming event is the Filipino Heritage Month event on June the 18th. They are expecting around 2,000 participants and visitors for the event this year, which includes a parade, activities, and of course food, and have approached Council for a contribution to help with the costs of the event. Council has a history of helping to fund town-wide festivals, including the former Lily Festival, especially as this is intended to be seed money, and any proceeds from the event can be carried over year to year.
So the first one is a request from the Filipino Heritage Committee regarding Filipino Heritage Month celebration. So after COVID, clearly they weren't able to have their celebration. The first one they had a few years ago was quite successful at Lions Riverbend Park. I believe they fed like 800 people or so. So they're going to try and host this again on June the 18th. So the annual Filipino Heritage Celebration will take place June 18th at the Lions Riverbend Park. The theme for this year will be Local Heritage, Seeds of Filipino Culture, and they're looking to help with some funding for their event. mostly because they're planning to host 2,000 people, all fed free of charge, which the donations would be gracefully appreciated to do this. They're reaching out. They figured that in the Philippines there's actually different communities within their own country over there, that there's 9 country or different representations for their country that they're reaching out to, from even areas, you know, up to Russell and wherever else they might be in Manitoba to come to Neepawa. So they're looking for assistance from whoever they can, and reached out to the town of Neepawa and writing to us for that. So they want us to consider making a donation to sponsor the event, and by giving into the event, we will be able to help us accomplish the goals and assist members of their community to materialize the celebration. In appreciation in your anticipated donation, they think the efforts would go even farther if we were an official sponsor of some sort. And they're looking for gifts in kind and monetary donations and whatnot, to make the event a success. So they have applied for a parks permit. We will, like we would with other celebrations of this magnitude, assist them, you know, with making sure they have picnic tables and the space available and the garbage and all those things, but they want you to consider a financial commitment to this event as well.
Okay. So we have a resolution on that.
Discussion or?
Discussion.
We have previously provided a group with a cash input to help them get their entity started on the basis that it would be an amount that they replaced every year, so that this is a one-time event, so that moving forward they would always have their initial amount of money to get their project going. And this is under the same rules. Did I word that correctly?
Yeah, the idea to move forward. Maybe I should add, when they came forward with the request, we worked through our economic development officer. We had them open a bank account, legitimize their organization, get signing authorities to make sure that you know, everything was the monies were set aside correctly, the checks and the payments would come up correctly, so that nobody was pointing any fingers and saying it wasn't legitimate. So they've done all that, and they're prepared to roll any monies forward that they, you know, have at the end of the season to hopefully, you know, give effect to the start of next year's event, making it bigger and better. So there is a recommendation on your resolution of administration of $2,000 commitment to this particular celebration. If you choose to alter that, that would be your decision.
Okay, any comments?
I know we've supported other groups in before, whether it would have been things like Lily Fest, different projects like that, and again, for it to draw upwards of 2,000 people within our community, I think that's phenomenal. And this acting as seed money, and it's something that's to be replenished going forward. I think it's just about creating another activity within our community and celebrating, I guess, the cultures that are within our community, which I think is just fantastic. So, yeah.
Excellent, yeah, you're right.
While proper use of the compost site, especially in this spring cleanup and planting time, is encouraged, illegal dumping has become a problem in that area, as well as in the dumpsters at the town maintenance sheds. Residents are reminded that they can take waste, including construction waste, directly to Evergreen Environmental. There are consequences for the town sites being used improperly in this way, which can eventually include an increase in costs to taxpayers. Residents are also reminded that the town maintenance sheds are covered by security cameras that can identify offenders.
Councilor George?
Yeah, I just want to make a comment. Over the past weekend, we noticed, the residents of Neepawa who are committed to keeping this a beautiful community, busy in the yards and making good use of our tree and grass clipping compost site. It's fantastic. It's there. We can see the piles of wood chips and compost that are available for the citizens to use. Very dismayed when I can see construction materials being dumped in by the trees, and we're seeing things like, we're seeing whether it be boards with nails in them and they're stacked into the wood, same thing where we see drywall that's been dumped in sight where those trees are. I would just suggest that if we can't better use or maintain that ourselves collectively as residents, that we may have to look at posted hours to control that in that site, or we may have to see if we can't have good material there, whether we even look at maintaining a site within town limits and maybe defaulting that to evergreen. So I mean, I just ask all citizens, it's a phenomenal resource and a benefit that we have as a community, but it only works and functions well if we treat it with the respect it deserves.
Yeah, no, very good comments. And Evergreen is a great facility. It's not that far away to be able to, they're open, you know, a lot of hours and that, so yes, please, very good suggestion. Thanks.
Question? Denise, can I get you to speak on the garbage bins, etc., at the town maintenance sheds?
Yeah, it's been a rough spring for cities illegal dumping. We have local residents, we have outside residents, we have a lot of people dumping garbage there. It's unfortunate, and it's the same case that the dumpsters we have there are for town use, and that doesn't mean every Joe on the street. That means for our staff to go pick up the waste refuse around town, literally pick up the litter that ignorant people are throwing around, but also the few approved residents that have opted not to have cart pickup because they're either on the outskirts and it's quite difficult, and they've just opted and requested that they can drop off their refuse on our facility. Those people are approved. It's every other single person in this community that's taking endless bags there. That's not doable, and it's the same thing. The dumpster will likely have to go behind a fenced compound, locked compound, or we're simply going to start literally sending you fines and adding it to your taxes. We know who you are. Our cameras show your faces, they show your vehicles, they show your license plates, they show everything you're dropping off there that is illegal. It's against our bylaws, so we do not want you there. Evergreen is a very short ride. I know you're dumping this during working hours, so it's only a few more miles to the dump. It's a free drop-off at Evergreen. Just drive out there. It's a simple process. There's nothing to be scared of over there. I haven't received flats whenever I've been driving there myself on the weekend. It's easy. Yeah, it's like I said, it's disgusting. There's everything being dumped there right now.
All right, thanks, Denny. Yes. Yeah, at the end of the day, we're trying to keep this community beautiful, and so we need everybody to work at that.
The other one is that we do not run a licensed transfer facility, and people are treating this as a transfer facility. That would require us to get permit through the province to do that. It's a collection point for our own staff to utilize, to be picked up from, but when residents keep leapfrogging and dropping it off, that now defines itself as a transfer station. So that's a bigger cost to taxpayers.
Yeah, that's right.
Also covered were the sale of a town-owned lot, the process for proceeding with Lagoon Phase 2, and the purchase of a new riding mower. Council also renewed the firearms permit for specific individuals to deal with public nuisance vermin, and remind everyone that those two individuals are the only citizens permitted to discharge firearms within town limits. You can view end-to-end coverage of the Town Council meeting elsewhere in the NACTV schedule, including immediately following this. This week's council meeting is divided into two parts, so be sure to check out both of them. If you miss one, they will also be available on the NACTV YouTube channel. We welcome your feedback on this program, and if you have questions or items that you'd like to see clarified or discussed, you can reach us at 204-476-2639 or by email at nactvnews@gmail.com. Thanks for joining me, and I hope to see you next time.